Hi, my name is Whitney Hansberry. I'm a senior at Loyola Sacred Heart and am currently in the position of Senior Class Secretary. In the last few years, I have been extensively involved in student government and leadership at my school. Last year, for example, as junior class treasurer, I helped plan a successful food drive for my class, as we brought in over 8,000 pounds of food for poor families during the Christmas season. As well as this, I helped plan school functions such as prom. I am in student government partially because of my interest in governmental leadership, which has of course led me to apply to Senate Youth this year. Why am I applying? Also because, as I've said in my essay, I've heard about Senate Youth all 4 years of high school from my history teacher and from past winners. It is a long-time goal of mine to win Senate Youth because it partially encompasses what I'm interested in. For my digital presentation, the format will be vignettes that talk about my accomplishments and my interests for all 4 years of high school. Enjoy!
So what's the difference between a socialist economy and a fascist economy?
So, a socialist economy is the government owns and operates basic industries, but with a fascist economy, all of these basic industries are privately owned and ran.
That makes sense.
I've had a passion for knowledge and academics and sharing knowledge by helping my friends with their studies. Throughout high school, I've learned that being prepared on issues and knowing what's going on is crucial in a leadership role, such as that of student government. Last year in AP US History, we learned about President Woodrow Wilson during our World War I unit. Now, President Wilson became President of the United States after being President of Princeton University. Because of this, he had a reputation as an intellectual and being prepared on issues. He always knew what was going on, whether it was in his office or in Congress itself. I wanted to emulate Wilson in my scholastic career by being prepared on issues and knowing what's going on and being knowledgeable on certain subjects. Because of this, my passion and my interest in politics and history increased tenfold, especially last year when I developed a close relationship with my history teacher. And last year, my time in my scholastic career accumulated with a 5 on the AP US History test, and I earned a spot in the top 3 of my class with a 4.0 GPA. So, in the current status quo today, do we need mandatory national service? Yes. But is the U.S. at a current national threat, such as that of the War of 1812, the Civil War, or World War II, where we used the Selective Service Act and the draft?
No, but...
So, since we are not at an actual threat, is it really needed? I have competed in debate all through my 4 years of high school, and in those 4 years I have developed a deep passion for it. But what has it taught me? I've developed skills in persuasion and rhetoric. I've learned how to construct a case, adequately defend it, and think on my feet when questions are being asked to me and when I am the one asking questions. I've also learned on certain topics how to think outside of the box. As well as this, I have developed knowledge on subjects that from the various resolutions that I've had to debate, such as that of police immunity, teenage medical autonomy, gun control, free speech, and mandatory national service in the United States. These skills can be beneficial in any career, but specifically law and government. Part of the reason I've become so interested and intrigued by politics is from my time in debate. My event is called Lincoln-Douglas Debate. Its namesake, of course, between the two debates, the debates between Stephen Douglas and Abraham Lincoln right before he was elected. I've admired Lincoln in debate, and I've learned from him that these skills can be extremely helpful in government and governmental leadership. Now, through my time in debate, I've been quite successful. My sophomore year, I was able to go to the state championship in Lincoln-Douglas and place 6th place. But last year, I ended up winning both in divisionals and state against my own teammates. And I've learned from them and from my team and just from my own success that debate is something that I love and that I have gained a lot from. And I'm very grateful for that.
All right, Whitney, so what kinds of topics do you want to cover at St. Joe's in EPIC this year?
So I want to talk a lot about religious freedom because going to a Catholic school, I feel like that would be beneficial.
Definitely.
And I also want to talk about acceptance of diversity and as well as awareness of it, as you don't see a lot of diversity where I go to school.
Gotcha. That sounds great. And also Tuesday, after school is going to work.
Great, thank you so much.
Yeah.
I started working with Empower Montana last year. Empower Montana is a nonprofit organization working to create a more just and inclusive society through developing young leaders. This year, I will be working to bring the EPIC program, which is a middle school program for after school, to my middle school itself, St. Joe's, as well as a workshop to my high school, Loyola Sacred Heart. Why am I doing this? I have a love for activism, and I want to change the world one step at a time. I truly believe that change can be made through discourse and action, especially from young leaders themselves. Like Susan B. Anthony with the suffrage movement in the 1920s, and Martin Luther King Jr. in the 1960s with civil rights, I wanted to bring attention to the ills of this world that I see, issues such as racial profiling, equal pay, homophobia, and transphobia. I believe that change must be made from the ground up, starting with the youth and working up towards a higher level. One reason for my interest in politics is that I believe that government is one of the many places where we can make change in the world. And that is why I am so passionate about activism and so passionate about working with Empower Montana today. I've raced on cross country in the past 3 years, and I can say I've learned a lot about leadership from it, but not in the traditional sense. In cross-country terms, I am as fast as a turtle. I am not one of the fastest runners on my team. Because of this, I learned to lead from the back and support the more successful runners. Oftentimes, good leaders have people supporting them behind them to help their success. Like Karl Rove with W. Bush's campaign, to even Coretta Scott King and her husband in his activism, we see this all the time in history and government. I've been a leader on my team in the function that I've pushed others ahead of me while trying to keep up, of course. Not from cross-country have I developed an interest in law or politics. That's been from other facets of my life. But I've learned a lot about leadership from it. Now, despite all of this and despite being the slowest runner on my teammates recognize that I'm a great leader for them, and that is why I am one of the team captains this year. I hope you will give my application serious consideration as one of the Montana Senate Youth Representatives. As I stated, from being extensively involved in cross-country, academics, debate, and Empower Montana, my passion and advocacy has intensified. And I see Senate Youth as a huge step to start me on the path to make a difference in today's political atmosphere. I'd be humbled if I were granted such an opportunity. Thank you.